Hey, welcome in everyone. Dave Solentano here with our Wednesday night guitar lessons sponsored by Guitar Tricks. Hey, I posted something in the chat window or the comments real quick. Guitar Tricks is having a big Black Friday sale. Black Friday is not till next Friday, but they're starting it early. And I put the text right in there, and I want me to read this to everyone too. So if you're not a member of Guitar Tricks already, you might want to jump in on this. Check it out. Before we start today's lesson, I want to share that Guitar Tricks has an amazing Black Friday deal this year. Pretty cool. Listen up. With the Guitar Tricks Black Friday deal, you'll get $99 for your first year, plus an ultimate beginner bundle pack, which includes free custom lesson plan. Most of them are done by yours truly right here. So if you're a Guitar Tricks member, you join up and you request a custom lesson plan, how to work through the site and how to get a plan going, because we all need a plan if we're learning here, okay? Me or one of the other instructors will create that for you. You also get free access to one premium boot camp. We're doing these boot camp classes, which are classes 1 hour long, 4 weeks in length. So it's a 4-week session, 4 hours long. Plus, as a member of the boot camp class, there's 2 question answer sessions we do live with the students as well who are enrolled in the boot camp classes. Okay. You also get a free copy of Guitar Tricks Ultimate Beginner Guide. You get a free exclusive access to brand new 100 Essential Licks video series. Cool. And this is a $500 value for just 99 bucks. So if you are a current monthly member, you can upgrade to the annual subscription with this deal, which is the $99 for the year. Okay. If you have any questions about this or would like more info, please email guitartricks@admin@guitartricks.com if you have any questions. All right. So there you go. And I'll mention that again next week too, because it'll be the Wednesday before our big Black Friday deal. So let's get this show on the road. Tonight we're working on some hammer-ons and pull-offs. Last week we started the 2 weeks on hammer-ons and pulls. We're going to finish it up tonight with some more stuff in the packet that I gave you. If you expand your video, the text box under the video here you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a link to print the curriculum, get the curriculum. So let me just see who's here tonight before we rock and roll. Some of the usual suspects, looks like, and maybe a couple new ones. Dave is here. Cool. Peter, Steve. All right. Terry, Richard, right? Roland. Hey, Roland. Zane, Thine, and Zach. All right. Hello, everybody. All right. Good deal. Cool. Do. All right, cool. So let's get on with this. So if you have any questions about what we did last week, go ahead and shoot them in the comments, and I'll be glad to read over it. And what we left off last week, we got all the way up to example 4, which was trilling using hammer-ons and pull-offs with the harmonic minor scale. We talked about that, and it's a really cool kind of a dark minor scale that a lot of neoclassical guitar players use. A lot of Spanish guitar players use it. A lot of classical music has harmonic minor in it. If you like some of Bach's, like Toccata and Fugue in D minor, that's got a lot of harmonic minor going on there. Okay. And hello, Dennis. How you doing, buddy? I'm doing good. So just to review, for example 4 we did last week, the harmonic minor scale essentially is a natural minor scale with a raised or a major 7th degree. Okay, so then A natural minor is just give a number assignment to each note in the scale, and then the 7th note is the one you raise a fret. 1, 2, it's actually a flat 3rd, 4, 5, a flat 6, and then the 7th note is, theory-wise, it's a flat 7, but we're going to raise it to a major 7. So that was a G note raised up to a G sharp. So all the G notes in this pattern, I'm going to raise a fret. It's got a very unique sound. And one of the cool things with it, there's several cool things with the harmonic minor scale, but what ties in with us and hammer-ons and pull-offs is that there's a lot of half steps. And a half step is the distance between any two notes that are just one fret apart in the guitar. So the A harmonic minor scale actually has a half step on frets 4 and 5 on your 6th string. Okay. And we also have one up on 7 and 8. And then we got 7 and 8 on the 5th string. 6, 7 on string 4. 4, 5 on string 3. 5, 6 on string 2. Okay. And then 4, 5 on string 1. And then 7, 8 on string 1. And then we'll end on the 5. Now, the little exercise I have for example 4 is doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. We do 2 hammer-ons and 2 pull-offs with every set of notes. Okay. And then hello, King 50. Welcome in, man. Jump in, grab the curriculum, and we're just doing a quick review of example exercise number 4, and then we're going to get into some new territory tonight. Okay, so what we're doing is just doing a hammer-on and pull-off, 2 hammer-ons and pull-offs on every pair of notes. So we're picking the low note, the 4th fret, hammer on the 5th fret, pull-off, hammer-on, like that. So pick, hammer-on, pull-off, hammer-on. And try to get the volume on both notes the same. You don't want to be. Okay, you want to be. Okay. Now, one way you could do it is just running up the scale straight up with all the half steps. The little exercise I have, though, is I'm going to go up 4 of those patterns, 4 of those half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the first bar of example 4. The next bar, I'm going to go back to the previous half steps and start there, and I'll go up 4 consecutive half steps. Okay, and then that ends bar, the second bar in example 4. I'll get it out. Okay, then we jump back to string 3 at frets 4 and 5, the previous trill we did. Start there and go up 4 consecutive half steps. Okay, so that sounds kind of neat too, to go up and then back a little bit. So instead of just going all the way up the scale and all the way back down, we go up in 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back 1, 2, 3, 4. Back 1, 2, 3, 4. And resolved. Maybe try going down. Even though it's not written in the curriculum, maybe do 4 down and then back up 1. Back to the previous. Back to the previous. And end on the root. Okay, so that's example 4. It's pretty cool sounding little lick. Randy Rose does that kind of stuff a lot. Yngwie Malmsteen, I hear him do a lot of trilling with the half steps in harmonic minor. He uses harmonic minor and just other instances too, and a lot of his playing, you know. You get that nice. It sounds very classical Spanish. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Let's get on to the new stuff. Example 5 is another hammer-on pull-off idea using the pentatonic scale. Okay, we can do this with our simple A minor pentatonic. Okay, Carlos Santana does hammer-ons and pull-offs with that scale trilling. it's a good exercise to get your pinky going and your ring finger going. The previous example, we just use index and middle finger on everything. This one's going to really work your ring, your index and ring finger, and your index and pinky finger. Okay, so I believe Black Magic Woman, Carlos might do something. It's in D minor. He does something like. Forgot the exact lick, but I think he does. There's some idea with the trilling in the D minor pentatonic. So we're going to move that down to the 5th fret and 8th fret. And these are good exercises too for building your finger strength. And you can use them in solos because they're built out of a scale that sounds melodic. Okay, so the first one is frets 5 and 8 on the first string. You're going to pick the first note, hammer on the 8 with your pinky, pull off to the 5 with your pinky, pull off to the index, and then hammer it back onto the pinky. So it's going to go. Then the next one, 2nd string, same thing, same fingers, same frets. Just the 2nd string, 5th and 8th fret. Okay, then the 3rd string, we're going to go frets 5 and 7. This is going to be the index in your 3rd finger. String 4, same thing. String 5, same thing, 5 and 7. String 6 is 5 and 8, back to your pinky. And then pull up to the 5. So we got. Or actually pull off the last note. You could pick that last note if you like too. Okay, so we got. You could even take what we did in example 4, going up 4 trills and then back 1. You could do that with this. You could go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could even break it up, folks, and do different sequences. Do 3s. How about go down 3? Then back to the 2nd string, down 3. Then back to the 3rd string, go down from the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th string. And then the final one is back to the 4th string to the 5th to the 6th. So we got. What if you do the harmonic minor with 3s instead of going up 4s? So go. So just trying to take an idea and then how many other ways can you play it? How can you twist that idea around, kind of milk it for more than what it just is on the surface, right? So whenever you learn a new lick or an idea or an exercise, think about how can I make that into something bigger and more, and maybe change it a little bit so I can use it in other instances. Okay, instead of literally just copying what you learned and then always playing it that way. Try to make it your own. So I see David's got a question or a comment. Let's see what he's saying here. Example 4 makes for a cool percussive sounding alternate pick X2 when palm muted. Like it. Yeah, Dave. Yep, exactly. If you do a little palm mute with this, it does sound pretty cool, especially with a little bit of gain. Right now I've got the Blues Junior amp setting with a tube screamer. But if I went to more of an 80s kind of metal sound, I will do that in a little bit. That would sound pretty cool too, Dave. Yeah. So kind of staying with these trills for a sec. There's another good example. Probably most of you aren't familiar with this violin player, but Nicola Paganini. Most of us know him as Paganini. He was a virtuoso violin player, I believe in the 1700s. And he was so good, people thought he was possessed by the devil. And he was, in fact, he was incarcerated, I believe, for that very reason. he was just very talented, very good. He wrote a bunch of violin etudes or caprices that are become sort of popular. In fact, if you ever seen that movie Crossroads with the actor Ralph Macchio, he's a young guitar player who plays classical and a little bit of blues and jazz guitar as well. But he wants to go down to the crossroads and just find out what that's about with the blues. So he goes on a journey and ends up getting in a guitar battle with the devil, and Steve Vais played the devil. And when they have a little duel at the end of the movie, it's pretty cool. And I'm sure some of my folks here watching this lesson are very familiar with that movie. And if you're not, check it out. It's kind of cool. If you're, obviously we're all guitar players here. I don't see how you wouldn't like the movie. It's got guitar featured throughout the whole thing. But what's really cool is that duel they do at the end. And Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio battle back and forth. And a few of the licks that they're playing are from Paganini's, one of his caprices. Okay. Yeah. See, King 50 saying that. Just watch Crossroads again. Yep. About a month ago. Yep. It's a great movie. Definitely, Bill. So I'm not going to play you that example that Steve Vai did. I've transcribed it many years ago, but I haven't rehearsed it or practiced it in a while. In fact, I remember someone asked Steve Vai at a clinic if he would play that Crossroads solo, and he said no. So it's one of those things. Steve Vai's a fantastic guitar player, but he's human too, like us. And if you don't practice what you're going to play out at your gig or perform, you need to practice it. You might make some mistakes. You might forget parts if you're not well rehearsed. So that's a cool little bit of trivia there for you. All right. So this little example I'm going to play is from the 24th Caprice. It's one of the variations that outlines the chords A minor, E7, A minor, E7. Does that a couple times. Then it goes A major, D minor, G major, C major, F major, B minor 7 flat 5, E major, A minor. It's a very classical chord progression. Bach has used that chord change a lot in different keys as well, but he's used that change in some of his music. Paganini did it for this. So he's doing these little trills. So it's like A minor, then E major. A minor. Let's try it again. Then it switches to A major. Okay. In fact, I'll show you. Let me share something with everybody here. Since we're on this subject here, let me see if I can do this real quick without hesitating too much. Got a song on my Wicked Music Box album where I play several of these themes. I'm going to share it with you. Just something for you to listen to.
Black Friday.
No. Okay, so we got that. Sorry, I'm tick tock. I know you guys are waiting patiently with me. Just trying to see if I can. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure Okay, sorry about that. I thought I could share it with everybody, but apparently I'm having a little hard time with sharing the chat, and I'm not sure what's. There we go. All right. So anyway, let me just get on with our lesson here. I thought I could share it with you, but maybe I'm having a little bit of a technical issue with that end of it. So let's move on. Anyway, if you're interested with checking it out, the song is called Wicked Music Box. It's on my Wicked Music Box album. In fact, it's that album right there. The song Wicked Music Box, I wrote it with parts of those chord changes I just did, a little more on the heavy side though. And I do some of those licks. I do that Paganini lick in there too. Okay, so it's kind of neat to hear it in a different context. Okay, so let's get on to examples 6, 7, and 8 tonight, everybody. Yep, we got 6, 7. Oh, you know what? I only have examples 6 and 7. Yeah. Double checking. All right, I'm going to there's only 2 more examples, but I'm going to actually give you one more, like a bonus example there. So example 6 is doing a nice little pull-off exercise that sounds more melodic. Last week, our exercises were just doing this kind of stuff. You know, getting the index and pinky to trill, getting the index and ring to trill, getting the index and the middle finger to trill. They're good exercises, but they don't necessarily sound like, you know, anything that you're going to use in a song or show your friends. But these exercises here in example 6 and 7, they sound a little more melodic, kind of like, well, let me play it for you. So example 6 is doing pull-offs on the first string from 12 to 8 to 0. And we're going to do that 4 times, okay? Then the next one, we go back and do the same thing on frets 10 and 7 to open. And then we move back 8 and 5, pull off to open. And then we come back to 7 and 4, fret 7 with the pinky, 4 with the index, and pull off to the open. Okay, so the end of example 6 concludes at the page 3. Okay, after that last one, we end on the 5 to resolve it. So all together, it's like this, folks. Okay. Now, I usually have my students repeat that before they play the resolving note. So it's a good idea to try to run through it twice, like this. Repeat. Okay, so that's really good for building your strength in your pinky and your index finger with the pull-offs. Okay, so when you're on the high E string, we need to make a snapping motion with the finger from the pull-off. So watch, I pick downstroke on the pinky, then the pinky needs to make a snapping motion, pulling motion downwards so that the index finger is as loud as if I were to pick it. And then the index finger needs to do the same thing. It needs to make a flicking motion downwards where you're plucking that string. So you're going pick, pull off, pull off. Now notice what I do with my right hand. I lean it on the thicker strings, because if I don't palm mute those strings, it starts to get kind of messy, people. You hear all that ringing when I'm not playing? That, even though you don't really hear it too much when I'm playing, that makes it sound kind of messy. You know, you can hear that there's some other stuff in the background, and it clutters up the nice notes that you're playing. You hear all that stuff? When you palm mute correctly, listen to this. See, there's nothing. Okay, just a little bit, you know, a little string noise is all right once in a while. Shows that we're human. It shows that we're a real human being playing the guitar, not a synthesized, computerized that sounds like a guitar track. You know, you kind of hear that these days with technology. They can imitate a guitar, like a synthesizer can sort of sound like an electric guitar, but it misses the little nuances of like the little string noise and the screechy sound that we hear sometimes when we hear a guitarist move from one chord to the next. Okay, those little things just show that it's real. It's played by a real human being. Okay, so very, very good. Let me go ahead and yeah, I'm just wondering, people, in the text thread or the chat, I posted that advertisement for Guitar Tricks Black Friday sale with all the deals they got going on and what you get for $99. Can you folks see that? I read it at the top of the lesson, but they also, Guitar Tricks wanted me to post it in the chat window as well. And for some reason, it's looking like it might not have posted. And that's kind of why I was having a hard time posting the link for my Wicked Music Box song. But let me know if you see that Guitar Tricks. It's kind of a lot of text. It's a little promotion for their Black Friday sale that they're having. You don't see it, Steve. Nothing. Wow, okay. So yeah. All right. Well, I'll figure it out later, people. I don't want to waste our time with that. But I did read it at the top of the lesson. So everybody watching the video will get that at the top. All right. Appreciate the feedback, everybody. Cool. Okay. So check this out, folks. One of the extra things is to play that example 6 twice in a row before you end it. Also, it'd be a good idea, too, people, to do this with a metronome. I do some of these lessons I'll do with my students. And the big deal here, people, is trying to keep it in time. So if we start like with, just for kicks, 70, what we want to do, example 6 is triplets. There's 3 notes per beat. The only note that's on the beat is the one that you pick a downstroke on with your pick. And it also happens to be the note that the pinky's on. So watch, if I'm doing, well, let me do 60. Let's do something slow, but we want to try to feel triplets at 60 beats per minute before we try playing it. So basically want to count 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That kind of feel like this. 1, 2, 3. You see how that works? So you definitely want to work with it slowly and try to get it moving evenly over the beat. Okay. So let me read the other comments here. Dave's saying, with example 6, having a little trouble pulling off the high E slightly off the fretboard, starting with a downstroke and then the pull gets noisy. Yep. Start out slow, Dave. Is good piece of advice there. And that's also what I was going to bring up, people. A lot of us on our guitars, sometimes we have a tendency to go pull the string off the edge before we do the pull off. So you got to get used, try to use your index finger to anchor the string so it doesn't pull off the edge. And you get a nice snappy pull off with your pinky. And in the index finger, try not to go where you tug it off the fretboard. Try to just get a nice pull off. You might have to practice that a little bit. Okay. I remember when I was younger and just learning these kind of licks, it was doing that for me too. You got to kind of work with just finger control and getting a good pull off there. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do, it's not written on the sheet, is do this example on the second string as well. This opens up a whole other can of worms, because now I hear this back from students that you don't have the issue of pulling the string off the fretboard, but now we got another string under us like this. So you don't want to pull off where you're making the first string ring. You don't want that. You want to make sure your fingers are on the tippy tips, okay? And then when you pull off, see, when I pull off, I kind of rest my finger on that first string. That prevents it from ringing. If you do this, you get a noise. See the high E's ringing. We don't want that. We want this. Okay? Those little details, people. 2% here, 3% there, 1% here. If you work with cleaning up those sloppy sounds, that's all little positive steps forward to making you sound better. So try it on the second string, the exact same, example 6, but like this. Same frets. 8 and 5. 4 and 7. 7 and 4. Okay, let's try it on the second string at 60 beats a minute, twice without stopping, and then I'll end it on that 5th fret second string. So we've got 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. Now, this is another tip for some of you. If you're having a hard time playing triplets at 60, what we're going to do, because triplets at 60, the only note that's going to be on the click is the pinky note, the one you pick, right? The other two have to be in between that first beat and the second beat, and they have to be evenly spaced. So we don't want this sound, okay, 3, 4. We don't want to go. All right, that's not triplet. That's not what we want. Plus, when you hear guitar players do this type of thing, it sounds even, right? I think there's a Metallica song too where Kurt's playing something like something. There's a lot of guitar players do this kind of lick. I think AC/DC, Angus might have done something like that on some of the old AC/DC, as well as Thunderstruck kind of has that sound too. Okay, but he's not doing triplets in Thunderstruck. He's doing 16th notes. So here's the tip I'm going to give you for those that are having a hard time struggling with the metronome. Instead of trying to play it as triplets, where the first note's on the click, then the next two are evenly spaced between the first click and the second click, and then the second beat is done the same way, okay? Here's what I suggest. Let's ramp up the tempo. Let's go to like 120, okay? But let's switch to 3/4 time, because we were in 4/4 time. So I'm going to switch my metronome to 3/4. Now it's going to be clicking like this. Check this out. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that loud click That loud click is the 1. That's the pinky note. Then the next click, okay, you're hearing 1, 2, 3, click, click, click. The first click is louder. The second and the third one are a little softer, okay? That first click is your pinky note. The second click is the index finger. The third click is the open string. So you don't have to worry about guessing where those middle notes go. Every note's on a click like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and if that's still too hard for you, slow it down a little bit. Keep doing it slower until you got it. Because if you can't do it slow and with the beat, most likely not going to sound any better faster with the beat. All right, so let's try just for kicks 100. 3, 1, and I'll do it on the first string because that's example 1 was on the first string. We should do this on the second and even the third string too, though. So we go 1, 2, 3. Botched up the last one a little bit, but you get the idea, okay? So you got to get it down evenly with the beat. And from that point, then you start ramping up your tempo, okay? But don't start doing it like this, people. Okay? You just do it slow. If you learn and train your fingers, the muscle memory correctly right now when you're first learning this stuff, and start out, use the metronome. I still practice with the metronome almost every day. Almost every time I practice, at some time during my practice session, I'm using the metronome for something, okay? So do it slow with the beat and do it on the first string a couple times. Do it on the second string a couple times. I'd suggest even doing it on the third string too, okay? As well. Now, theoretically, you could even do it up on the fourth, fifth, and sixth string, but I always recommend my students to do it on strings 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let me just catch up with the comments here. Okay, cool. Just looking. All right, right on. All right, nothing new there. Okay, so All right, so one more time. I'll try it on the third string for everybody if you want to give that a shot. I'm going to go back to 120. Hang on. Let's get that up there. Okay, I'm going to do on the third string, example 6. It's the same frets, same fingers, same triplets. They're just different notes. It's in a different key. Okay, I'm going to do it twice on the third string, and then we'll move on to example 7. So here we go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, I keep hitting that fourth string. Let me do that again from the top. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the idea, folks. All right, now example 7, it's the same thing, but doing hammer-ons. So we're going to flip it around, kind of do the opposite. We're going to start on the open. Let's go back to the first string too. We're going to start on the open first string. Then you're going to hammer your index onto the 8th fret first string, and then pinky hammer onto the 12th fret first string. The hammer-ons are tricky in their own way, because now you've got to, instead of dealing with plucking and pulling off the edge of the fretboard or pulling into another string, now we don't really have that issue to contend with, but you've got to be able to have your fingers hit the note, hammer the note hard enough, and come down perpendicular to the fretboard that you get volume, because we don't want a weak hammer-on. Okay, that's kind of weak. Try to forcefully think about when you're hammering a nail in, right? You don't just let the hammer fall on the nail head, right? Don't use your wrist or your arm to put a little force into it. We got to do that here. So don't just gently put your finger on the string. Forcefully do this. You hear how loud that is? And then same with the pinky. That's going to take a little practice too. A lot of us have weak pinkies, and it's okay. It's the shortest finger on most of our hands, and it's also the thinnest one relatively, okay? So it's going to take a little work to build up strength, but you know, if I can do it, you can, because when I started, my pinky was not strong. The way to get strong is you use it, okay? And then again, still, I'm leaning on the strings with my palm, with my hand. I even kind of use this part of my thumb sometimes to lean forward on the string, but I'm muting the strings, the bass strings. Okay, that's the first bar of example 7. The next one, we're going to go back and go open 7, 10. Okay, try to hit all of them correctly. And then the next one is fret 0, 5, 8. And then 0, 4, 7. And on the 5. I recommend everybody to do example 7, 2 in a row though. Okay, don't pause at the end. Don't go. And then repeat. Skip the last note. Don't do that until the very end. And then repeat. Okay, just like that. Again, we're going to do that on the second string and the third with the metronome, okay, taking it nice and slow. Now, check this out too, people. These little licks we're doing, these triplets, they're notes from chords, okay? If we look at the very first one, the 0, 8, 12, or if you're doing the pull-offs, 12, 8, 0, okay? Those 3 notes are actually an E note, a C note on the 8th fret, and an E again on the open first string. Those 2 notes are the 3rd and the 5th of A minor. The flat 3rd of A minor is C, and then the 5th is E. Okay, so this lick implies the A minor. Then the next chord the notes are the 10 to 7 to 0. That's a D note, a B note on the 7th fret, and an E is open. Those are 3 notes of an E7 chord. Okay, it's the D is the flat 7, the 7 of E7. The B is the 5th, and then the open E is obviously the root. Okay, the third one, frets 8, 5, 0, or C, 8th fret. A is the 5th fret. E is the open. Those three notes are clearly the root third and fifth of A minor. C is the flat third, A is the root, and E is the fifth. And then the last one, 7-4-0, that's a B note, G sharp, and E. Those are the three notes of an E major chord. Or you could think of it as the E7 without the seventh. It's got the E is the fifth, G sharp's the major third, E is the root. So that little lick, people, is going A minor, E7. Hey, Maverick. What's up, buddy? It's my dog, Maverick. He likes to come and check on me, listen to some guitar playing. We're doing pull-offs and hammer-ons today, bud. We'll play in a little bit, okay? We'll see you in a little bit, Maverick. Okay, bye. All right, so those chords, folks, you got A minor, 4 beats, E major, or E7, 4 beats, A minor, 4 beats, and then E major, 4 beats, and then end on A minor. Okay, so it's outlining a nice little chord change. A minor to E7, A minor to E major. Okay, it's very common in a lot of songs. So those are the chords that are little exercises outlining. The hammer-on, example 7, since it's the same notes, just in reverse order, it's still the same. A minor, E7, A minor, E7. Okay, so we got that cooking on there. Let's try example 7 with the metronome, everybody. And I'm going to stay with the 120 beats a minute in 3/4 time. That way, anybody that's struggling with keeping it in time, this is a good way to practice it, is set your metronome up, like I mentioned earlier, 3/4 time. So the loud click is 1, and then the soft clicks are 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and we want to just play one note per click, like this. And I know what some of you are probably saying or thinking, well, if I do it faster, I can get the notes to sound, but when I do it slower, they don't sound. Well, it's because your fingers are weak and you're probably not doing a good technique with your hammer-ons or your pull-offs, whichever one you're working on. If you can do it slowly and it sounds good, it's going to sound real good when you get the speed built up to do it faster. But if you think that just playing it faster is going to cover up your weak technique, that's not really a good way to approach playing guitar. So we got to work on some of these things that might challenge you a little bit and give you a hard time. Okay, hang on one second here. Oopsie daisy. Do. I want to do that. All right, cool. All right, so let's try it with the metronome at 120. Example 7, I'm going to play it twice on the high E string. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Repeat. Okay, there you go. Let's try it on the second string. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Same frets, same fingers, different chords now. do it on the third string as well. We won't do it now for time's sake, but that's the idea, folks. And of course, you can get these a lot faster, but you got to start out slow and get it even first. Let me just read what the comments. Richard's asking, what amp settings affect the hammer-on? What amp settings affect the hammer-on and pull-offs the most? All right, Rich, good question. Well, right now, I've just got a little bit of overdrive on. I've got the tube screamer engaged. But check this out, people. We should be able to do this even on an acoustic guitar, right? Or on an electric guitar with a clean setting. Let me put on a really clean setting here. This. Okay, so I got a little slapback delay. I'm going to turn that off so you don't hear anything hiding. I'm going to turn off the chorus, and then now we just got this. Okay, it's a real clean sound. Okay, it's a very clean, crisp sound. We need to be able to do these hammer-ons and pull-offs good, even on a clean setting. I do these on my acoustic, the steel string, and on my classical guitar too. So the pull-offs. You hear it? Every note sounds the same volume, and they're all loud and articulate. Hammer-ons. Second string. Okay, a little compression, Richard, would help get the volume a little more balanced on those notes, but we don't want to use effects to cover up our lack of technique. Okay, so we only want to use the effects to embellish and be like icing on the cake, right? We want to make the cake is our technique. And if we don't have a good technique, the icing and stuff, while it looks fancy and might sound okay, it's not going to go too far. Okay. So we really want to get strong fingers and be able to do this on acoustic too, or electric with a clean sound. Okay. So let me go back to in fact, let's try this. I'm going to even go to another setting. This is more like an 80s kind of setting right here, with slight bit of more overdrive. This is a Friedman amp with the overdrive on it, and then a little slapback delay. Okay. But see, my delay doesn't go on forever. Like I hear some folks echo, it's just too much. This, you hear one echo, and in the second echo, it immediately is a lower volume. So my signal, then the echo is a little lower, and then the second echo is even lower, and then you don't even really hear a third one. Okay, that's what you want. So you don't want to cover up your beautiful guitar playing with a ton of effects that just make everything washy. Okay, you want to be articulate. So Randy Rhoads, before he got with Ozzy, he would do in Quiet Riot, when he would play the club circuit in Los Angeles, he would do a guitar solo, a loner solo, like Ed Van Halen would do with Eruption. A little spotlight for a few minutes on stage with just the guitar player, and he gets to show off his technique, his prowess on his instrument. Well, Randy would do this. I think he even did it with Ozzy when he joined Ozzy, but he would do this cool little thing where he took this pull-off exercise we're doing, and a lot of people do this. He just took it further, kind of like Eddie Van Halen. Those people tapping before Eddie, like Steve Hackett from Genesis, old Genesis, was doing finger tapping. But Ed took that and just did a ton more stuff with the finger tapping. Well, Randy's taken this little pull-off lick, and he's did it on a whole bunch of strings. In fact, I'll show you what he was doing. He did basically our example 6. slow for you. Then he does it on the second string. Same frets, just like I'm having everyone do. Okay, but then he just moves that frets 7, 4, 0 just up to the third string, does that. And then up to 9, 5, 0. And then jumps that up to the fourth string, 9, 5, 0. And these are all chords, people, or notes of chords. So maybe you do a little homework, see if you can figure out what the chords are implied. Like the way I showed you, the first one was A minor, E7, A minor, E major. Okay, so we got the third string, fourth string, 9, 5, 0, and then 7, 4, 0. Then up to the fifth string, 7, 4, 0, 8, 5, 0, 11, 7, 0. That's harmonic minor. There's the G sharp. And resolves to the A. So all together it would be like this. You hear how the palm muting sounds kind of cool on those bass strings? Versus. Which doesn't sound bad either. Now, if you take that idea and run with that, which Randy didn't do this, but try to do it with the Hammer-ons. Okay, same frets, but just do it with the Hammer-ons. Okay, kind of cool. Neat, huh? So you just take ideas like this. I'm just throwing little ideas out to you. How can you take them, embellish them, add them, and get more out of it? That's the trick. That's what we want to try to do with this technique stuff we're working on. So tonight is the second week of 2 for hammer-ons and pull-offs. I hope I've given you some good ideas to run with, a little bit of inspiration, things to work on. Hammer-ons and pull-offs are going to help you a lot with your legato technique and your lead guitar chops, okay? Next week, we're going to shift gears, still working on lead guitar techniques, but next week we're going to start week 1 of 2 for string bending and vibrato, okay? Working on string bending techniques and vibrato techniques for a couple weeks, okay? All kinds of good stuff for making you a better lead guitar player. Things that every good lead guitar player does. And then if you're a novice starting out, this is going to be things you want to work on, okay? So for sure, I'm going to wrap it up with this tonight, everyone. Good job, okay? So I'm going to, just as a reminder, everyone, since that post didn't go apparently in the comments, Guitar Tricks is having a Black Friday sale, okay? With Guitar Tricks Black Friday deal, you get $99 for the first year, plus the Ultimate Beginner Bundle Pack, which includes a free custom lesson plan, free access to 1 premium boot camp. That's a group class that we're doing, several of those, okay? But you get access to 1, okay? Free copy of Guitar Tricks Ultimate Beginner Guide and free exclusive access to our brand new 100 Essential Licks video series. It's a $500 value for just $99. So if you're currently a monthly member, you can upgrade to the annual subscription with this deal. If you have any questions about this or would like more info, please email Guitar Tricks at at guitartricks.com. ADMIN at guitartricks.com. And they can get you all plugged in and hooked up with that. All right, people. It's been good. All right. Yeah, Jeff. All right. Cool, buddy. Good to see you. Dave. All right. Very welcome. City's on fire with guitar techniques. Right on. Good to hear. All right. Cool. King 50 and Steve in New Hampshire. All right. Appreciate it. Zane. Yep. All right. Cool. Roland. All right. Take it easy, Roland and Richard. Everyone, have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday, and we'll work on some string bending and vibrato. Keep practicing with your metronome, people. We all need to work with that. Okay. Take care. Keep those fingers flying. We'll see ya. Bye.